Okay, all right, so sorry about that. Time being 2:06 p.m., I'll call the meeting of the JTPG to order. Thank you for your patience while we got started. If we can please do roll call, Andrea.
Yep. Cushnet,
Here.
Attleboro, Berkeley,
Here.
Carver,
Here.
Dartmouth,
Here.
Dayton,
Here.
Fairhaven,
Here.
Fall River,
Here.
Freetown, Lakeville, Mansfield,
Here.
Marion,
Here.
I'm doing
Mattapoisett,
well.
Mattapoisett, Middleborough, New Bedford,
Here.
thank you, North Attleboro, Norton, Plainville,
Here.
Raynham, Rehoboth, Rochester, Seekonk, Somerset,
Here.
thank you, Swansea, Taunton, Wareham, Westport,
Here.
thank you, at-large commissioner for Attleboro,
Here.
at-large commissioner for Fall River,
Present.
thank you, at-large commissioner for New Bedford,
Ellen here.
and no Ashley, I think. At-large commissioner for Taunton. See her. All right, all set. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so see a hand up?
Yeah, this is Frank Moniz from the town of Lakeville. Sorry.
Phil,
Sorry.
thank you. I thought I missed someone. No worries.
Thank you. So we can move to item number 2, approval of minutes. If there are no questions or comments, I would entertain a motion to approve the September 10th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Motion made, Fall River. Oh, second.
Roll call, please.
Acushnet,
Yes.
Berkeley,
Yes.
Carver.
I'd like to recuse myself. I was not at the last meeting.
Okay, thank you.
You don't have to do that.
Dartmouth,
Yes.
Dayton,
Yes.
Fairhaven,
Yes.
Fall River,
Yes.
Freetown, Lakeville,
Yes.
Mansfield.
I'll excuse myself, I was not there.
Okay. Marion,
Yes.
New Bedford,
Yes.
Plainville,
Yes.
Somerset.
I'll excuse myself. I was not there.
Okay. Westport,
Yes.
at large for Attleboro,
Yes.
at large for Fall River.
Did you call Fall River? I'm sorry.
Yeah, yes, I did, Gloria.
Okay,
We're just voting on the minutes.
I wasn't at the last meeting,
Okay,
so I'll excuse myself. I'll
Abstain.
abstain.
okay, thank you. And at large for New Bedford.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 3, public comments. This is an opportunity for the public to address the JTPG. If there's anyone on, please feel free to use the raise hand function. Okay, I'm not seeing anything. Okay, we can move to item number 4, Regional Transit Authority reports. Is there anyone on from our RTAs to give an update? Okay. Alrighty, hearing none, we can go to item number 5. I'm sorry, what was that?
Sorry, Victoria, I was
Oh,
having
no worries.
technical
Sorry.
issues. Hi, Christina Mendoza, Director of Transit Planning for SRTA. I just have a couple of brief updates for you all. Just wanted to let you know that we continue to see an increase in ridership since implementing the extended microconnector zones in the service span. And our ridership in general continues to increase since we implemented our fare-free service. So we're very happy about that. And we're continuing to work on developing our CRTP with MassDOT right now. So those are the major things we have going on. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Victoria, did you hear me?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I
that's
think
all
I'm
right.
having technical issues too.
No, if nobody's got questions for Christina, I'll give you the GATRA update.
Thank you.
So we are also continuing to see positive trends in ridership, which we're very excited about. But our big news is that for the second month in a row, we've seen an increase in ridership on the Gateway Link, which connects Brockton, Taunton, and Fall River. So for the month of September, we moved 1,198 people on that service. And that's a service that only operates Monday through Friday. So we are very excited that we always knew there was a gap there. This group has been talking about that lack of connectivity, especially within Bristol County. But this really proves that what we are doing is meeting that need that our riders have.
Thank you so much, Mary Ellen. Does anyone have any questions? Well, it's great to see the increase in ridership. I'm glad that those programs are working. Okay, so we can move to item number 6, draft SMMPO public participation plan update. And I believe Andrea is going to introduce this one.
Victoria, did we skip number 5?
Oh my
on the
goodness, I'm
agenda?
sorry.
It's okay.
I'm all messed up today. Sorry, item number 5, community practice discussion. This is an opportunity for members to share questions, project updates, challenges, success stories, lessons learned. Is there anything anyone wants to share? Any, projects they're in the middle of, or any questions they have for the group? Okay, hearing none. Now we will move to item number 6. Sorry for skipping. Which is the draft SMMPO public participation plan update. And Andrea will talk about this one.
Can everyone see my screen okay?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, we are updating our public participation plan this year. Our PPP it basically lays out the guidelines for our staff's public outreach and public engagement activities during the development of all our plans and projects and studies and all the work that we do in our communities. We update it on an as-needed basis. I forgot to mention this link here in the presentation, and I'll drop it in the chat after, is where you can find the public participation plan draft. So yeah, it's updated on an as-needed basis, and it's developed with the ultimate goal of allowing every person in the region ample and meaningful opportunities to participate and be active participants in our continuous, cooperative, and comprehensive metropolitan transportation planning and decision-making process that guides the SMMPO's work. And this update, so the last time we updated the PPP plan was 2022, so 3 years ago. And this update is being informed by recent policy changes, insights, requirements from our federal certification that we just had earlier this year, and also insights from doing different types of public engagement throughout the past couple years, and some things that we learned from doing those different activities. And also we had done some tabling at community events this year, specifically for the public participation plan, where we were asking people how they were getting their news and their preferred way of getting their news, which was really insightful. We learned some things that we expected, but also some other things we weren't as top of mind. A lot of folks, specifically in Attleboro, mentioned getting their news with the paper newspaper, the Sun Chronicle. So that's something that we're gonna, make sure we stay on top of our press releases and all of that. So these are the updates basically that we made to the plan this year. So basically spanning from adding public engagement goals and principles and evaluation measures, updating policy changes, our alternate meeting notice language, virtual meeting procedure changes based on Zoom webinar and those changes we made, and just adding more clarified process, more clarifying descriptions and explanations for our MPO work products in terms of the opportunities for public participation in those. And also a lot of reformatting and reorganizing the document to make it easier to read and use for our staff, for our community partners, and for the general public. So our public participation goals, we have the 4 E's. So educate, effectively inform the public and all relevant stakeholders about transportation-related conditions, issues, projects, and programs relating to the region's metropolitan transportation planning process. Embolden public officials and relevant stakeholders and the public to voice concerns about transportation needs and priorities to the SMMPO, local and state decision makers. Evaluate, listen, and incorporate. Evaluating public comment received, incorporating the comments into our planning documents and projects, and also evaluating how the input we received is impacting our final plans and project lists and decision making. And then encourage. So encouraging local officials and decision makers to initiate and develop projects that respond to public concerns and priorities, especially publicly identified major needs that are documented in our certification documents, planning documents. Whoops. Our public participation principles, some of these we kind of borrowed and share some of the same principles as the MassDOT public participation program, but promoting respect, providing proactive and timely opportunities for involvement, offering authentic and meaningful participation, providing a clear focus and predictable process, fostering participation from populations of various life experiences, being responsive to participants, recording, sharing, and responding to public comments, and self-evaluating and planning regular updates to this plan. So we kind of incorporated a menu of outreach and engagement methods and kind of brief explanations of how we use them and their advantages. Skip the slide. Our evaluation measures are that basically in terms of visibility, looking at the number of publications and informational outreach materials that we're putting out there and what we're distributing to the public, participation opportunities, looking at the numbers and the locations of where we're doing public meetings, events, focus groups, where we're sharing surveys, the number of community organization meetings we're having, and the number of people on our JTPG and SMPO mailing lists. And then public interest and feedback, kind of assessing how engaged and the type of feedback people are providing. So the number of registrations at public meetings, the number of attendees at public meetings, focus groups we do, the number of people we're interacting with while we're canvassing at public venues like bus stations and bike trails and that kind of thing, number of survey responses, social media interactions, website statistics, analytics. And then response to public input is recommendations made in response to the public input we received in our plans. And then documents the board actions by the JTPG, SMNPO, Survey Commission as a response to public input received, and any other external actions by our community partners in response to public input received. And then the last one, accessibility and inclusion, is basically how, meetings that we're doing in under-resourced in our Title VI communities, the meetings that we're holding along transit routes, our virtual meetings, the number of translation materials that we're translating, the number of limited English proficient individuals we're engaging with. Alternate meeting notice. So we added this in the plan, basically, the SNMPO and SRPEDD and all of the JTPG and all the standing committees. We adopted last December, with the approval of the Mass Office of the Attorney General, our website as the official posting location for our meetings. So we still send them out to all our city and town clerks, but they're not required to post it on their own web pages to be compliant with the open meeting law. As long as we post it on our own separate website, we adopted that process. And then the virtual meeting procedure changes. This was kind of based on just informing the public about how we operate our JTPG, SMNPO, and other virtual hybrid meetings that we do in the webinar mode that we're in right now, where our voting members are panelists and everyone else has to register for the meeting as an attendee. And then some language on AI bots being prohibited from joining these meetings. And something else that we did was kind of providing more clarified step-by-step information on the public process for all our MPO work products and the opportunities that folks have to participate. When comment period happens, the JTPG and SMNPO meetings, all those different channels are really spelling that out more clearly. And then we also added, like I mentioned, a menu of outreach and engagement methods, which explain how we use each of them and the advantages of each. In outreach, basically is how we're advertising information and opportunities for the public to engage with us. And then the engagement is where the dialogue and gathering input is happening. And we're sharing this with the public too, to, see which are the most preferable methods. And if there's anything that we miss that would be a helpful, method to add in our toolkit. And so the next steps will be, we're asking the JTPG for a vote to recommend the plan to the SNMPO for release to 45-day public review and comment period. And then it will be released to public comment period following the SNMPO vote in a couple of weeks. And then ultimately they will vote on adopting it after the comment period, the SMNPO. And if you have any comments or questions about the plan, you can reach out to me directly. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention that in terms of the federal policy updates, we had to remove things referencing environmental justice executive orders that were repealed by the current administration and references to that initiative. And other things like planning emphasis areas that were also repealed by the current administration. And we also updated our limited English proficient population data, which Jen is actually going to talk about in more detail after this with our language assistance plan update. And yeah, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Andrea. Does anyone have any questions? I'm not seeing any hands raised. Okay, so seeing and hearing none, I would entertain a motion to vote to recommend to the SMMPO for release to the thank you. There a second?
Second, Thomas.
Perfect. Can we do roll call, please?
Yep, Acushnet,
Yes.
Berkeley,
Yes.
Carver,
Yes.
Dartmouth,
Yes.
Dayton,
Yes.
Fairhaven,
Yes.
Fall River,
Yes.
Lakeville,
Yes.
Mansfield,
Yes.
Marion,
Yes.
Mattapoisett. Thanks, Janice. New Bedford,
Yes.
Plainville, Somerset,
Yes.
thank you. Westport,
Yes.
Attleboro at large,
Yes.
Fall River at large,
Yes.
and New Bedford at large.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bill, yes.
Plainville, thank you. TJ.
Plainville, yes.
Thank you.
I think,
I did see Nancy as well.
okay.
Thank you, Nancy. All set.
Right.
Emotion.
Thank you. So we can move to item number 7, the draft SMMPO language assistance plan update, and Jen will be introducing this one.
Thank you. Yeah, so as Andrea just stated, we are also updated the language assistance plan in conjunction with the PPP plan. It was last updated in 2022. The purpose of this plan is to make sure individuals with LEP have equal access to participate in the programs, activities, and services that we offer. Known as safe harbor languages, we are required to provide translation of vital materials if a language group makes up 5% or 1,000 individuals of our service area, whichever is less.
Excuse me?
Yes.
There's just something popping up that's blocking part of the PowerPoint.
Oh, sorry. That's
No
my-
worries.
Thank you for that. So the 4-factor analysis, to access language needs of individuals with LEP, the language assistance plan evaluates 4 factors. The 4-factor analysis is a tool to help us determine the extent persons with LEP come into contact with our programs and services, and how we can best provide language assistance services needed to ensure that they have meaningful access. So factor 1, we first have to determine the number and proportion of LEP individuals in our region. Previously, LEPs only used ACS data. And beginning in 2016, the census began grouping certain languages into language families. So most notably in our area is Portuguese, which obviously is a big language here in Southeastern Mass. And it is not with the ACS, it is not individualized anymore. It is now grouped into what is the language group, other Indo-European languages. So for us, that was a big deal over here. But to address this, we are using additional sources of data to determine our safe harbor languages. So those two sources are the public use microdata sample, which is also census, and we are using data from the Department of Education. Okay, and so this gets complicated, but for the sake of time, I'm going to do a brief overview. If anybody has questions or wants more information, please feel free to reach out. So for 2018-2022 ACS data, we use two tables. So table C16001 is provided in the census tracts for the population age 5+ and provides 12 languages. And the top languages there for us are other Indo-European, Spanish, French, Haitian, or Cajun, and other Asian and Pacific Island languages. So that's here. This is census tracts. The other table we use is C16002, which is this one, and it's provided with the block group level. So it's a little bit more detailed. However, it's with households, and only 4 languages are provided. So those are other Indo-European languages and Spanish for the top languages there. So as you can see, as you get more granular, the languages are not as detailed if the geography becomes detailed. So to determine what these languages could be in other Indo-European and other Asian Pacific Island languages, that's what we looked for the PUMS data and the Department of Education data. Let me see here. So, just trying to hide some windows. The PUMS data is based on that same table, that C16001, the one that uses population age 5+. However, this is a much larger geography. So if you look at this is the different PUMS areas. Luckily, they're pretty much all in the SRPEDD region, except a few outlying ones here. And then this Norfolk PUM, only Plainville is in there, so we take note of that. Obviously, if there's a large, I think there was one down here. It was this one here. I don't know, one of these has like a large language where just with local knowledge and what we know of our area, we know that language is most likely not Plainville. So we do take that all into account. So the top languages here using the PUMS data. So it's a larger geographic area, but it does give 42 languages. So you do get more detail. So the top languages for our area are Portuguese, Spanish, Haitian, and Chinese, which includes Mandarin and Cantonese. So it's beginning to give us an idea of what that other Indo-European language could be and what the other Asian languages could be. And this data is the Department of Education data. It is collected for all school districts, all municipal school districts, and regional school districts, such as bulk tech schools. They define an English language learner as a student whose first language is a language other than English and who is unable to perform ordinary classroom work in English. Their top languages are, for our region, are Spanish, Portuguese, and Haitian Creole. Again, this gives us a sense of what could be in those larger language groups. So across all data sources, it's evident that Spanish is among one of the most spoken languages. And data from the PUMS data and the Department of Education allow us to determine that Portuguese and Creole are also widely spoken. That being said, so that's what we have determined as our safe harbor languages, Portuguese, Spanish, and Creole, whether it's Haitian, French, or Cajun. That being said, we do recognize the existence and importance of other languages such as Chinese and Vietnamese. So when planning outreach materials and public meetings, etc., we do take into consideration, of course, the specific geographic area that we are doing something in. We consult all these data sources and we draw on local knowledge from ourselves and from our community partners to make an informed decision on what languages we have to translate something into, regardless if it's a safe harbor language or not. And by taking this holistic approach, by considering all these various data sources, it provides a more comprehensive understanding of the region's LEP languages. So if anybody has any questions on any of the data part, we can, I'm happy to answer them now or later or talk offline later. I'm going to continue on with the rest of the factors, and this will just be brief overview. Factor 2 addresses the frequency of contact with LEP individuals. Contact with LEP individuals most frequently happens during local and public events, as well as our own hosted events and public meetings. We also maintain regular contact with social service organizations in our region and advocates throughout the region. Factor 3 addresses the importance of our programs, activities, and services. Every effort is made to ensure that the public understands the planning process, and we consistently provide opportunities for community members to share their feedback and perspectives. Public engagement is always conducted for our main documents and for specific planning efforts, such as the regional pedestrian plan. Factor 4 addresses the resources available. The SMMPO has allocated funding to support translation and interpreter services. All efforts are made to accommodate any language that happens to be requested, regardless if it's a designated safe harbor language or not. And providing language assistance. I just highlighted and read a few of the things, we do. Written translations of vital documents. We provide interpreter services. We have a pretty robust staff of bilingual staff members in Portuguese, Spanish, and French. So that tends to come in handy, especially the Portuguese and Spanish, when we're at public meetings. Many times we don't get a formal request for a translation, but it happens often that somebody will walk up to us and ask if we speak Spanish or Portuguese, and then we converse in that language for them. Outreach materials, of course, and surveys are translated into our safe harbor languages, or again, into whatever language we're doing a specific project in that area, if it's a different language. If we get a telephone call, we contract with the language line. It's a service that provides on-demand phone interpreter services in over 170 languages. And our website, of course, also offers the tool to translate the website into over 100 languages. And lastly, monitoring and updating the LEP. So we're doing it in conjunction with the PPP, as Andrea mentioned, but we continually seek out new data sources. And if anybody has ideas of new language data sources or things that are out there that we might not know of, we are happy to take your suggestions. We will be reviewing the census data, the ACS data, about every 2 years. If you do it yearly, like even every 2 years, it doesn't change too much. But in the Department of Education data, we will be reviewing that yearly. And it's as stated, it's an integral part of our NPO's Title VI program, and this plan is updated accordingly. It will be updated with the PPP when that's updated, unless if there are any significant changes in language, we will of course update this plan. And similar to the PPP, we are asking the JTPG for a vote to recommend to the NPO for release for a 45-day public comment period. And if anybody has questions, I'll take any questions.
Not seeing any hands raised. Thank you so much for the update on the language assistance plan. So if there are no questions or comments for Jen, then I would entertain a motion to recommend to the SMMPO for release to the 45-day public comment period.
Motion to approve, Alan. No, second.
Thank you. Can we do roll call, please?
Acushnet,
Yes.
Berkeley,
Yes.
Carver. Carver,
Sorry, yes.
thank you. Dartmouth,
Yes.
Dayton,
Yes.
Fairhaven,
Yes.
Fall River. Yes. Freetown,
Yes.
Lakeville,
Yes.
Mansfield,
Yes.
Marion,
Yes.
Mattapoisett. New Bedford,
Yes.
Plainville,
Yes.
Somerset,
Yes.
Wareham, Westport,
Yes.
Attleboro at large,
Yes.
Fall River at large,
Yes.
and New Bedford at large.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. Can go to item number 8, the draft comprehensive climate action plan overview. And we have Audrey presenting this today.
Hi there. My name is Audrey Matthews. I'm a senior climate planner here at SRPEDD. We have a comprehensive climate action plan for the region that we are hoping to share with you all. Our waste, or not waste, sorry, our reduction measures. Just trying to open it up here. Minimize that. With this, our goal is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions as much as possible with the region. We were given the grant for the Providence Warwick metropolitan statistical area, and with that includes all of Rhode Island and the SRPEDD region. So we wanted to share what reduction measures we came up with our consultants from Engineering, Science, and Technology Associates and UMass Dartmouth. So this being a pretty large project for us, we wanted to go over generally what we are, sorry, lots of sirens outside, generally what we are encouraging to implement with or without SRPEDD authority, but measure recommendations that the whole region would benefit from adopting. So, okay. So this is the overview of the project. This is straight from the EPA website. This is not something that SRPEDD had come up with. There are 3 objectives coming from the infrastructure bill passed in 2023 or 2022. So the first is creating good jobs and lowering energy costs for our region. The second is to address environmental impacts and empower communities to create solutions where they are overburdened and to deliver cleaner and less polluting air in the world that we live in. And again, I want to emphasize that this is coming straight from the CPRG EPA website and is not something that this slide in particular did not come up with. This is the region that encompasses the Providence Warwick MSA, so all of the SRPEDD region and Rhode Island. You generally all know what the MSA is, but just to give you a scope of what we're looking at, there's a lot of overlap, of course, in services, even with CERTA, GATRA, RIPTA being one great example. So a lot of these are applicable over that state border, even if we don't like to relate to Rhode Islanders. This is generally the goals of the project. We have first a greenhouse gas inventory, and something interesting here is that is something we plan on presenting to the rest of the region, is showing each municipality's greenhouse gas contribution as the data allows. We also have the projections into 2050. We have set targets that are mirroring what the state of Massachusetts and the state of Rhode Island have set, but the lowest common denominator being Massachusetts, because Rhode Island has a slightly more aggressive approach. We will be adopting the state of Massachusetts ones. They're also our legal overseers. So then with that inventory, we have created through research and expertise, reduction measures that I'm about to present to attempt to lower those greenhouse gas emissions, targeting the biggest, with lack of better words, culprits. And with that, those reduction measures are given a geographic benefit analysis and a community benefits-based analysis based off of income levels. And those last two, the benefits analysis is done by our associates at UMass Amherst, and the inventory for greenhouse gas emissions is done by our EA engineering consultants. Lastly, for each of our reduction measures, we have created the ability for us or the authorities who would be implementing it into the plan, because SRPEDD has, to an extent, a certain amount of authority. And beyond that, we give the instructions on the best ways to leverage funding and the authorities to do so, complete with a workforce planning analysis, which is an essential part of this plan to integrate workforce skills and training so that we can fully kind of move our economy to a lower energy consuming region, but also less polluting. This is from our consultant at EA. They've given us an overview of where our greenhouse gas emissions generally are coming from. The natural and working lands is a carbon sink, so it is not a part of the entire emission total, but it is counted in the net emissions. It's kind of pulled out of our total emissions. So you can see here, most of them are coming from transportation and buildings, heating and cooling being the most, and then transportation, vehicle, highway. And it's certainly more on the commuter small vehicle, but there's still quite a bit that the heavy industrial vehicles. So a lot of our reduction measures are around that. So I'm just going to go through each of the sector reduction measures. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask at the end or just message me or email me. My email's at the end. So for the energy sector, we're attempting to have grid updates regionally, workforce training, and create avenues for storage and storage siting, as well as microgrid implementation and funding. And I will say the measures in italics are measures that we cannot necessarily and fully figure out what the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions would be, but are essential to moving forward with this plan. For the waste sector, we're looking at downstream waste and kind of less consumption for the first one. The second one is diversion of waste through recycling and compost. The third is working with nonprofits to encourage better consumer habits. The fourth is working with municipalities to figure out solutions for PFAS and that sort of pollution. And the last being grease and fat reuse, which Providence has a lot of restaurants, so it's a great one there. For the transportation sector, which most of you are very involved in, this being transportation sector meeting, I will say Rebecca Rose has been really essential here. She's done a lot of great work on this. But the first is supporting light duty EV transition. The second is reducing commuter emissions through modal switch, which is complete streets, safe streets, trail creation, safer sidewalks. The third is small scale roadway interventions. This is for ease of transit by car, so there's less stopping in traffic or clear throughways. And also, sorry, T2 is also encompassing using public transit and commuter rail. And the fourth is looking at green port strategies on our coastline and seeing ways that we can reduce the idling and kind of industrial pollution and greenhouse gas from our ports. That's been particularly hard to figure out with a lack of information on total port emissions. Our fourth sector, I believe, is natural and working lands. The first is preventing continuing loss of forests and wetlands, which is still happening in our region. The second is to encourage BMP and soil restoration generally throughout the region. The third is farmland preservation and farm viability and preventing those farms from changing use into either urban, suburban, or industrial uses. The fourth is small scale landscape restoration to a natural system. So that's turning a space to be ecologically friendly and to become a working ecosystem again. The fifth is looking at brownfields and within urban environments, how can we improve on the site scale here, and using landscaping techniques that improve the viability of carbon sequestration. And the last is for maintenance equipment and energy efficiency improvements for landscape equipment, but also farming equipment as well. And for I believe this is the fifth measure, is the industry. We want to support continuing to convert biogas and sludge from wastewater into a fuel like a biodiesel. The second is helping with technical assistance for industry work across the region, making industrial processes more efficient. The third being we want to help prevent the loss of our legacy industries like fishing and other coastal work there, and make sure that they still have their legacy and right to the harbor as well, and to convert their current industrial processes to something more fuel efficient equitably. The last is for smaller scale commercial and industrial businesses. We want to look at updating equipment that is just more wasteful. And we're talking about, even in our own offices here at SRPEDD, is improving those to make them more energy efficient. The last sector being buildings, which is my favorite personally. The first is building decarbonization, using more efficient systems, reducing our reliance on oil, converting to heat pumps, and using much more efficient gas. The second is weatherization and making buildings, as we use that energy to change the temperature inside our homes, keep that the same. The third is looking at zoning and building regulations that are climate resilient. The fourth is looking at citywide or municipal-wide building inventories and finding their tracking and reporting for energy consumption. And the last is building materials and construction, using materials that are less greenhouse gas emitting to the environment. Knowing this is a heavy transportation-based meeting, I just want to emphasize a lot of the other sectors do touch upon ways that we can work within SRPEDD or within, as we make changes to the transportation landscape, there are ways to implement, such as working natural lands or buildings and things like that. These are general questions. If anybody has them or wants to answer these up, I know I don't have a ton of time, but if you'd like to ask them in the chat or email me later, please feel free. Or if you have any questions, I'll take them now. Sorry, I kind of ran through that. I just want to make sure I got it all through. Okay. I will also say the final report will come out probably early next year. So look out for that, and a supplement guide that will have a lot of funding and reduction measure resources. If you have any questions or want to email me or any of our consultants, please feel free. Really, very collaborative report that I'd love to share and work with. If you think your town may benefit or have a disbenefit from a particular measure, we'd love to hear that and why, or if you know a program that you'd like to see in there. All right, that's all I have.
Thank you so much, Audrey. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, so if you think of anything, feel free to email her, the project team. Thank you so much. So we can move to item number 9, the interactive transit accessible park finder ITAP map presentation. And this will be Dan kicking us off.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Victoria. Let me just pull up my screen here. Give me one sec. All right, folks should be able to see my screen now. It's so nice to be here. It's a gift to be here with you all and have this time to get to highlight this map here. So before kind of diving into the map itself, I want to kind of give a bird's eye view of the why of this map. So between our CHST plan and some of our past SRCOT meetings and our regional pedestrian plan, we identified and folks in our community had identified that being connected to green space and being able to either walk or utilize transit to green space was a priority for them. And I think this is also paired with the fact that within our region, about 1 in 10 people live in zero vehicle households. So, and in some instances, whether you're in Attleboro, Fall River, New Bedford, your neighborhood or census tract could be upwards of 50% of people living in a zero vehicle household. So really being able to kind of leverage the connections that we have in our region to access green spaces is a huge priority, especially I think about a report that was released by Bristol Community College and Groundwork South Coast, where in New Bedford, there was a heat island disparity of about 20 degrees in the summertime between more affluent green spaces in the suburban part of the city versus kind of the north end where things are a lot more industrialized. So this is also perspective on equity and access within our region too. So with that said, this is a wonderful map where folks are able to see which parks are within a half mile of a bus route or bus stop. So this gives folks options to be within a 5 to 10 minute walk of being able to go to parks. So as we can see on this front page here, we have a little postcard, but we also have suggestions. So this is a living map. So this is being regularly updated. So things may not always be 100% accurate, but we're working to make sure that it's reflective of the reality that's on the ground. So there are things that you're either noticing, or if you'd like certain topics or filters within the map added, that's something that we're always happy to do here. So with that said, we'll hop into the map. So as this is loading, something that I want to first draw your attention to is you have this link here for the transit app. And if folks aren't familiar with the transit app, it's this free to utilize app and website that can set up your journey and destination to where you want to go using public transit. So for an example here, I have this up from the transit app website. If you wanted to go from New Bedford to Father Travassos Park in Fall River, it would give you the time when you should leave from the terminal and when you'll get there. So this is also something that's incorporated into this map, so you know which bus route to take to be able to get to the park that you want to go to. So with all that said, we'll kind of dive a little bit here to see a few different examples. So I'm going to pull into the Fall River area, and since we were just talking about Father Travassos Park, what I wanted to kind of showcase here is you can see the SRTA bus routes that are around, and then you'll start seeing some of these icons and symbols here in addition to the name of the park. So as we kind of zoom in on Father Travassos Park, you'll see that you can find a community garden. As I click on this, it's a little laggy, so my apologies. But you can see that there are certain amenities here at each park. You also have bike parking. So if you're taking your bike on the bus or you're trying to ride your bike to a certain park, this is also something that you have access to. And this map will also highlight some of the athletic fields that are available. This one also highlights like splash pads. And as we kind of zoom back out here, you will also see that there is options for free lunch and free food programs in the summertime for food access and security. So that's also labeled within here. So where you can find certain places for youth or adults to be able to get free lunch and have food security during the summertime. A lot of our park spaces throughout the region partner to be able to have those kind of programs, which is amazing and also very necessary as well. And if you're anything like me, you always kind of want to know, oh, is there like a bathroom at this park, or am I able to do that? Like, can I be here for a while, or do I really have to, like, what am I walking into? So part of this map is also taking out the guesswork of things. So this map will also kind of specify if it's like a permanent restroom, or if it's like an outhouse type situation or a porta potty situation. And so all these kind of like green spaces that you're seeing here, these are kind of the parcels or the outlines of the parks within our region. And then another thing too that I think is really important, just especially with our neighbors and our community members, this park finding tool also provides information on which parks are ADA accessible and what kind of amenities that are there accessible, including having ADA friendly playgrounds. So instead of kind of having the wood chip bottom, you would instead have kind of like this foam material or kind of rubber material that makes it wheelchair or stroller friendly to be able to get on the parks. And there's also a filter here for which parks are stroller friendly, and gives a little bit of information too and what like buses you may want to take to get there. And this also showcases some of the great public beaches in our region, because you can actually get to some both saltwater and freshwater beaches right off the buses here. So like some of the beaches in Onset come to mind as it's loading. And then up in Taunton, you have a state park that has some great swimming spots as well. So right here, as we zoom in, we have a spot for Onset Beach, which also has restrooms and bike parking. And that's right across from the band shell there too. And then kind of taking another step back here. So if there's like too much information, or like you're looking for a specific thing and you just don't want everything to pop up on the map at once, you have the ability to turn off all of the layers. And let's say you are looking for a nature path. So you could find that based on either GATRA or SRTA. And you have to zoom into a certain level to see some of these things. So, in this case, we have the Quequechan Trail. So as you're kind of navigating this, you can really customize this in the way that makes most sense to you, and that's most responsive to your needs and the ways that you want to navigate throughout the region and the type of park experience that you're looking for. So if you were trying to find places that have like splash pads, that's something that you're able to do as well. So this is just really a great opportunity for figuring out what's in our region and how we can improve accessibility with our neighbors to be able to access the screen space and be able to have a place to be, and be able to have a place for food security as well. So these are kind of some of the major things that you can do with this park tool too. And if you were to Google search this or Bing search this, whatever search engine you want to use, I'm not going to discriminate. But if you're going to look for this, if you type in "I tap the map," it will be the first thing that populates in your search engine. So that's another way that you can find it. That way, you don't have to remember like a long URL. But we do have a smaller URL too. So this would be tinyurl.com/I tap the map, and that will bring you right there as well. So really, this is just an opportunity for folks to be better connected to recreation and green space within our region. And with that, I'm happy to take either questions, feedback, or anything that folks would like to share. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dan. Does anyone have any questions or comments? I have one, and I know this is focused on parks, but has there been any thought to expanding it or adding like trailheads and things like that? I think sometimes finding trails is difficult, and not knowing the parking situation or things like that is tough.
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. I'm glad you asked that, because that's been something I've been thinking about too. And I know within our transportation department, we are currently mapping a lot of the trails throughout our region, and that's definitely something I would want to incorporate into this map as well. So as we're getting that data and information, that will definitely be a layer that's going to be going in here as well. Because I agree, because like sometimes if you're trying to find like a trailhead, you have to go on a town website, and then like it's a PDF file, and then like that's not always the easiest thing to kind of like pull when you're like trying to walk in the woods and stuff. So yeah, it's a great point, and I'm glad you raised it. I also see that Emma has a question.
Yes. I was wondering for the park spaces, is there any distinction that it would say like for some ball fields municipalities require permits to use them, like especially if you want to have like a group together at a specific time? I didn't know if it could clarify that.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Not at this time, but that is really helpful feedback and a point that I didn't fully consider. So, especially for being able to reserve a field, or like some places have like a picnic pavilion, and that's a place that you can rent out to. That's a wonderful idea, and I'm actually going to be taking notes of that to add to this. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Emma.
Any other questions or comments for Dan?
Dan, John here in the SRPEDD office. If you could just enlighten us as far as what GIS map you're pulling for the actual parks themselves, so that folks know when they get a new park, or a park is expanded, or a new park is added into like a municipality's, list of parks, how they would make sure that that gets, added into this map, if it's transit accessible.
Yeah, that's a helpful question. So this is kind of coming from a few different places, but primarily this is coming from the Massachusetts DCR, where they list public parcels. So the way that I'm able to do this in ArcGIS is kind of delineate the types of parcels, because they also provide like private parcels that are like forest space, or not developed spaces. So I'm kind of filtering from there, and then I'm triangulating that with towns' park and recs websites to make sure that things are reflective on the ground. And for one case that I can think of, like Duval Park in Taunton, that's they just completely redid that park, made it a lot more age friendly, added more ADA accessible like amenities there, as well as like a pickleball court. So part of that is also kind of doing some sleuthing with like local news, but something that I would love to set up with this park map, just to kind of to your point, get things more integrated, is work with town and city staff, especially in the Parks and Recs department, to be able to kind of have this be a resource for them, but more importantly, also be able to make sure the park amenities and options that are there within each town are being authentically presented as well. So to your question, I would say it's a combination of DCR and then kind of member checking with some of the towns, but definitely want to kind of streamline that more moving forward so it is more reliable.
Alrighty, any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you so much, Dan.
Yeah, thank you.
So we can go to item number 10, which is other business, and I believe Lisa has something to add.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick last minute plug for our evacuation route study that is out for public comment. It will go before the NPO in a couple of weeks for endorsement. So just encouraging everyone to take a look at that, and please provide us feedback if you have some. Thank you. And that's all I have, Victoria.
Thank you so much. So our item number 11, date and time for next meeting is November 12th at 2 p.m. Will also be a hybrid meeting. And if there are no other questions or comments, I would entertain a motion to adjourn at 3:09 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you everyone. Have a great rest of the day.